Right, so I'm going to talk today about physics at Leaving Cert level. For those of you who are interested, so what I'll talk today about basically is what's on the physics course, who is suitable for, and what can you do afterwards. You leave school and you want to go on and have a career in physics. So here's a kind of little map about physics, some of the different areas. So classical physics is where a lot of the Leaving Cert courses. There's a little bit of relativity right in there, a little bit of quantum physics as well, and then you can kind of look further and go into philosophy and kind of future physics, like stuff like the Large Hadron Collider and things like that. So physics is a very practical, hands-on subject. It's not new, like it's been around since the dawn of time. It's basically the original science. It's there's a lot of experiments in it. There's 24 practical experiments that can be asked, mandatory experiments that are on Leaving Cert, and there's loads of little stuff in there as well. There's a lot of teamwork obviously involved in it. The nice thing that I like about physics is that there's not a huge amount of learning off. There is definitions and things to learn off, but most of it comes down to using formulas, the maths, the algebra kind of side of things. Obviously, it's a small class. It's a practical subject, so there's 24 max in the class, so that kind of does help a lot as well. So what's on the course? You got optics and waves, so you're looking at light and sound. You got mechanics, so you're talking about speed, distance, time, acceleration, all that kind of stuff. Heat, so we'll be going into the mathematical kind of applications of heat, so change of state, energy conversions, and that kind of thing. Electricity, we'll be looking at how circuits work, and kind of getting into a lot more detail than say the junior cert science did. Electricity and magnetism, then showing how those two are interlinked. We're talking about like electromagnetism. You've probably heard that word before, so we're going to go into the science behind that and the real world applications of that. And then we have atomic physics as well, so we're talking about cathode rays, X-rays, radioactive decay, nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, nuclear reactors. Very, very interesting stuff. And then in the option section, we've got a choice between particle physics and applied electricity. So particle physics is kind of like the CERN stuff, the Large Hadron Collider, looking at new particles that have been discovered. That'd be the newest section of the course. Then you've applied electricity, which is kind of looking at more like motors and things like that. So what does the exam look like? The exam is 3 hours long. There's loads of choice in it. It's a really nice exam. So there's two sections. There's section A, which is based on the 24 mandatory experiments I mentioned earlier on. And then there's section B, which is the kind of theory side of things, and there's a load of choice in it, so it's a nice one. And there's there's not a huge amount of difference in the higher level and ordinary level. It's just the depth that you have to understand. So sorry, I skipped ahead there. You can see there the grade breakdown. 10.8% of people who did physics in 2019 got a H1. It's usually quite high. You can see there you've got the numbers and some good combinations, especially I'd say applied maths. If you think about doing applied maths in physics, it's just a no-brainer because there's a lot of overlap there. What careers can you do? So physics is a very flexible degree. You can go into anything you see here. Also stuff that you can't see here, because what employers love to see with a physics degree is they clearly know you're good at maths. So you could go into finance, you could go into actuary, anything like that after a physics degree. It's very sought after, especially in Ireland, because there's an awful lot of opportunity for places like Intel, like on the semiconductor manufacturing side of things. Huge opportunities there as well. And then of course you got the whole research and everything like that. Ireland has always been had a good standard of physics output in terms of students. You can see different organisations there that Ireland are involved in. And then probably the most important thing is deciding whether physics is for you. So the one thing here, you can ask these questions about yourself. So it's basically, do you like understanding things rather than learning things off? That's the main thing. Now, physics is the most maths-based science that you can choose from. So it's important to understand that, it's not a necessity to have higher level maths going into fifth year physics, but it really does take the burden off you, like when you're doing stuff in physics, you want to have your algebra pretty much nailed down. If life is difficult for you on the algebra side of things, the physics isn't going to be much easier. Now, you do get a lot of practice in it, and you do get a lot of chance to get better at it, and you will get better at it, but it's important to have that algebra foundation there going into the class. And if you want to find out more, you can, obviously this is, made for a more stable time in society, but if you want to email me, you can email me at dallen@portleacbs.com, and I'll talk you through any other questions you have. So you can have a look at other stuff there, and I guess one of the side effects of doing a physics course is you get to understand stupid physics jokes. So if that sounds good to you, let me know.